The people are represented by Mr. Brockler, Mr. Orman, Ms. Pearson, Ms. Tish McGuire, and Mr. Edson. And we are outside the presence of the jury. I have a few housekeeping matters. Tomorrow, Friday, we're going to stop at 4:30 because juror number 872 has an appointment with her dentist. So if we stop at 4:30, she's able to make her appointment on time. Yesterday, we had juror number 737 a couple of times, or maybe a few times in here by himself, and I questioned him by himself. After Mr. Espinosa testified, the impression I got from him was that the testimony from Mr. Espinosa was not emotional at all for him, or that it was not what he had anticipated that it would be. And it occurred to me that perhaps I should have followed up on that and confirmed that. I don't know that I need to do that, but I bring it up in case either side wants me to inquire about that. That was the impression I got, that when he came back, he was like, oh, that was, I think he said that was nothing, or that was brief, or something along those lines, but his demeanor and body language led me to believe that it was not what he had anticipated it would be in terms of potentially emotional testimony. And frankly, of all the victim's testimony, it was perhaps the least emotional. He was not seriously injured in the shooting, and his testimony was brief and unemotional, if you will, or lacking in emotion. So do the people want me to follow up at all, Ms. Tish McGuire?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Do you, Ms. Brady?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you. And if either one of you disagrees with my impression, you can make a record of that. But I suspect that was your impression as well. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about was at some point yesterday at a bench conference, I told Ms. Higgs, I think it was, that in terms of the emails, if the defense wants a limiting instruction or some kind of instruction to inform the jury that any content in the emails that refers to statements or questions by the professors, that those are being admitted to put the defendant's statements in the email in context. I'm happy to provide that instruction. I only mention this so that you know that that offer stands. I don't think there is a concern with the emails because, frankly, the questions and are not do not contain any substantive statements for the most part, and witnesses have talked about the emails both on direct and cross-examination, but the offer stands. I made the offer to Ms. Higgs, I think it was while Professor Klug was testifying, but I'm not sure. And I don't know if I made the same offer with respect to other emails that may have been offered, but the offer stands. Is there anything on behalf of the people that we need to take up at this time before I bring the jury in? Ms. Tish McGuire.
Your Honor, just briefly, the court had rejected one of the people's exhibits, and pursuant to the court's case management order, I've marked that as CTR 10, if I could just add that to the court's record.
Okay, that's no problem. Yes, I think the case management order indicates that you have to ask for that. So if you're requesting it, I will grant the request. And I denied the people's request to admit that photograph into evidence because it is a photograph that shows Mr. Nolan in the hospital with his arm bandaged, and it has little probative value given the other photographs that have been admitted and given the testimony that has been admitted, and under 403, there's a potential for prejudice in terms of the cumulative nature of the photograph, and so I found that it was inadmissible. And I think I found that pursuant to Mr. King's objection. It may have been somebody else's objection, I can't remember, but whoever objected, I sustained the objection, and I stand by that. I think the people's response was that this photograph shows Mr. Nolan's face, which the other photographs of his injuries do not, but Mr. Nolan testified, and he testified while the pictures of his injuries were introduced, and this picture doesn't show his injury anyway. It just shows his arm bandaged up, and he's in the hospital, and I think he's asleep in a hospital bed with his arm propped up on a pillow. So that's why I rejected that photograph. All right, anything else on behalf of the people before we bring the jury in? No. Mr. Edson, maybe?
I was just closest to the microphone, so I'll say no.
All right, thank you. All right, anything on behalf of the defense?
No, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's bring the jury in, please. Please be seated, everyone. The record should reflect that the jury has joined us. Again, good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Good, good. Thank you for coming back, and thank you for being on time again today. Mr. Orman, you may call your next witness, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to recall Detective Apple for a limited purpose.
Okay. Detective, you're still under oath, okay?
Right.
Detective, did I ask you to take some measurements in the courtroom so that when people point out various locations, the jury can actually know how far that is?
Yes, you did.
And how did you take those measurements?
I had a 100-foot metal tape measure. Myself and Special Agent Jeremy Phelps, we measured it 2 days ago after court.
So if I ask you a few questions about the lengths, do you think you remember what they are?
Yes.
Okay, so from the witness stand to the a wooden partition in front of the jury box, how far is that?
Approximately 18 feet, 6 inches.
And from the witness stand to that pillar right there, how far is that?
Approximately 31 feet.
And from the witness stand to the clock, how far is that?
Approximately 35 feet.
And then lastly, from the witness stand to the corner in the back of the room over there, how far is that?
Approximately 50 feet.
Thank you. I have a couple other questions for you relating to a subject that we heard from yesterday. Were you present when Officer Wong testified about dropping his gas mask?
Yes.
And from your understanding as the lead investigator in the case, was another police gas mask actually recovered?
Yes, there was.
So in addition to Officer Wong, what was the name of the police officer that also had left his gas mask there?
Officer Paul Jaroth.
Okay, thank you. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
How do you spell that last name?
Believe it's Jeroth.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
No, thank you.
Okay. And the jury does not appear to have any questions. All right, thank you, sir. Is he subject to recall, Mr. Orman?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. All right, call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, the people call Tony Payne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm on a penalty of law that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. Could you please tell us your full name and spell your first and last names?
Tony Payne, Tony, T-O-N-I, last Tony, T-O-N-I, last name Payne, P-A-Y-N-E.
please make sure the microphone is right in front of your mouth. You can move the microphone, and you can also move the chair a little bit. Make sure you speak right into the microphone so that everyone can hear you, okay? All right, Ms. Pearson, you may proceed.
Ms. Payne, who do you work for?
FBI.
How long have you worked for the FBI?
Since approximately 2005.
What do you do for them?
I'm an intelligence analyst and a member of the evidence response team.
What does the evidence response team do?
And they're actually the FBI's arm crime scene investigation team.
What is your position generally on the evidence response team?
I'm a crime scene photographer.
Did the evidence response team respond to the Century 16 Theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes.
And did you respond as part of that team?
Yes, I did.
What was your job in relationship to the response to the theater that night?
I was the crime scene photographer.
Did you take photographs?
Yes, I did.
In what general areas did you take photographs?
I took photographs in the rear, the back rear parking lot outside theater number 9.
What were you asked to photograph back there?
The suspect's vehicle and all items of evidence within that area in the back parking lot, all the way through the northeast corner of the parking lot.
I'm going to hand you some photographs marked as People's Exhibits 38, 33, 38, 38, 38, 39, 38, 44. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
I actually took them.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 3833, 3838, 3839, 3844.
Is there any objection to exhibits P-TR-3833, 3838, 3839, and 3844?
No.
All right, without objection, they're all admitted and may be published.
Could I have first Exhibit 3833? Could you explain to us what we are seeing in this photograph?
This is the rear parking lot of Century 16 outside theater number 9. In the photograph as well is the suspect's vehicle, the white vehicle.
There should be a wireless microphone next to you there, which will need to be turned on, and then there is a pointer that is behind you
The other
on
side.
the ledge there. If you could point out where the defendant's vehicle is.
It's actually, so this is the suspect's vehicle.
Right there, okay. Could I have 3838, please? And what are we looking at in this photograph?
This is the northeast corner of Century 16. Appears to be blood spatter on the pavement and various gloves and clothing.
3839.
Close-up of the same.
3844.
Also a close-up, just a different vantage point, blood spatter, gloves, and various items of clothing.
Now, as you head towards the top of that photograph, does that go towards Theater 9?
Yes, it goes towards Theater 9, towards the suspect's vehicle.
Next, I'm going to, and you can put that back down out there so you don't have to hold that. I'm next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 3853, 3856, 3858, and 2136. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
I did take them.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I move for admission of People's Exhibits 3853, 3856, 3858, and 2136.
Any objection, Ms. Spangler?
No objection.
Without objection, Exhibits P-TR-3853, 3856, 3858, and 2136 are admitted.
Could I have People's Exhibit 3853 first, please? What are we looking at in this photograph?
This is the rear of the parking lot. The white vehicle is the suspect's vehicle, and then various blood spatter on the pavement.
3856, please.
Just a different vantage point, same suspect's vehicle and blood spatter.
3858.
And another vantage point. This is blood spatter coming from Theater 9. The suspect's vehicle is the white vehicle, and a sun shield on the pavement.
2136, please.
A close-up of the sun shield, and behind the sun shield is a can of law enforcement grade clear out,
What is clear out?
also referred to as tear gas.
Thank you. You can take that down. I'm next going to hand you what has been marked as People's Exhibit 3857, 2188, 2191, 2190, and 2192.
Could you repeat those, please? 3857?
3857, 2188, 2191, 2190, and 2192.
Thank you.
Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
I took the photographs.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would move for admission of People's Exhibits 3857, 2188, 2191, 2190, and 2192.
Ms. Spangler, do you have any objection?
Object to 3857 is cumulative to the other photographs we've seen this morning.
Can I see those, please? Could counsel please approach?
Set those down.
All right, the objection to P-TR-3857 is sustained under Rule 403. Exhibits P-TR-2188, 2191, 2190, and 2192 are admitted without objection.
Could I have 2188, please? What are we looking at here?
This is the rear exit of theater number 9.
Could I have 2191?
Also, the rear exit of theater number 9, a rifle and 2 pink flip-flops and a metal clip on the door with light bluish-green tape.
2190, please.
A close-up of the rifle, flip-flops, and blood spatter outside theater number 9.
Is there a magazine in the rifle?
Yes.
2192, please.
Also a close-up of the rifle, magazine, pink flip-flop outside theater number 9.
You can take that down, thank you. I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2198, 2279, and 2280. Do you recognize what is depicted in People's Exhibits 2198, 2279, and 2280?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took?
Yes.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I'd move for admission of People's Exhibits 2198, 2279, and 2280.
Is there any objection, Ms. Spengler?
No objection.
Without objection, exhibits P-TR-2198, 2279, and 2280 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2198, please? What are we looking at in this photograph?
A rifle outside theater number 9 and the entryway into that exit.
2279, please.
A different vantage point, but the outside door, the exit door to theater number 9, the rifle, 2 pink flip-flops, and also the metal bracket with bluish-green tape on it on the door.
Could I have 2280, please?
This is a close-up of the metal clip covered in greenish-blue tape.
Thank you. You can take that down. Now, did you also take photographs of items of evidence that were laying on the ground outside in the back parking lot of Theater 9?
Yes, we did.
I'm first going to hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 2170.
Thank you.
Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
I took the photograph.
Does it fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I move for admission of People's Exhibit 2170.
Any objection?
No.
Without objection, P-TR-2170 is admitted and may be published.
May I have 2170, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
On the ground, there is a air tank and mask. To the left is a suspect's vehicle. In the background are various items of clothing, shoes, and other various items.
You can take that down. I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibit 2199, 2201, 2213, and 2202. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
I took the photographs.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibits 2199, 2201, 2213, and 2202.
Any objection?
No objection to those photos.
Without objection, P-TR-2199, 2201, 2213, and 2202 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2199, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
This is actually, so in the very far area is an orange, what appears to be an orange blanket, and then two rifle cases, various duffel bags, clothing items, a red 10-gallon gas container, and other various, I believe what's possibly a belt of some sort.
Is there a shirt on the right side of the photograph?
Yes, there
The
is.
light-colored item?
Yes, there is.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2201, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
Close-up of two rifle cases, duffel bag, 10-gallon gas container. I believe the shirt's in the very foreground there.
2213, please.
Close-up of the rifle, two rifle cases and duffel bag, and in the background is the 10-gallon gas container.
And 2202?
From another vantage point, the shirt on the left side, duffel bags, towel, 10-gallon gas can container, duffel bag in the foreground, batteries in front of the duffel bag, and then to the right, rifle cases.
I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2203, 2204, 2205, and 2206. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are those photographs that you took?
Yes.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2203, 2204, 2205, and 2206.
Any objection? Without objection, Exhibits P-TR-2203, 2204, 2205, and 2206 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2203, please? And are we again seeing the items that were behind the theater, including the orange blanket?
Yes.
2204? What are we seeing in this photograph?
So this is a close-up of what appears to be a tactical belt with 2 shotgun shells, also a flashlight, possibly even a pair of chaps or tactical type belt, and then a duffel bag in the background.
2205?
This is a close-up in the belt of 2 shotgun shells.
Could I have 2206, please?
Also another close-up of the 12-gauge Winchester shotgun shell.
Is this the same part of the belt or a different part of the belt than 2205?
It's a different part of the belt.
So there were 5 shotgun shells that you observed then on this belt?
Yes.
I'm going to now hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 2212. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
Is that one you took?
Yes.
Does it fairly and accurately represent what you observed on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibit 2212.
Any objection, Ms. Spengler?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-2212 is admitted and may be published.
Could I have 2212, please? What are these?
Batteries of different sizes, Energizer, one was 357, one's a lithium photo, one's regular ultimate lithium, and then a smaller 2025 batteries.
Thank you. Take that down. I'm next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2225, 2229, 2231, and 2232. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2225, 2229, 2231, and 2232.
Any objection? Without objection, P-TR-2225, 2229, 2231, and 2232 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have first People's Exhibit 2225? What are we looking at in this photograph?
This is the exit of theater number 9 in front of the dumpster. You have various items of clothing to include pants, body armor, helmet, what appears to be other parts of body armor. In the foreground, you've got an IV case.
Could I have 2223, please, or 2231, please? What is this a photograph of?
Personal body armor.
And could I have 2232, please? Is this the label that is on the body armor?
Yes, it is. It's the label with the date of manufacture of July 9th of 2012.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2229, please?
Also a photograph of the pants, a belt, and the body armor in the background.
I am now going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2230, 2276, 2277, and 2278.
Judge, I have no objection to these exhibits.
Are you moving their admission?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, without objection, P-TR-2230, 2276, 2277, and 2278 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have 2230, please? And what are we looking at here?
Pants and a belt, size medium.
2276?
Their pants, a belt, in the back, what appears to be the back right pocket. There's an iPod, and then in the background, the body armor.
2277, please?
A close-up of the iPod in the back pocket.
2278?
Another close-up of the 8 gig iPod.
Thank you. Let me take those down. I'm next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2220, 2221, 2258, and 2257. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2220, 2221, 2258, and 2257.
Any objection, Ms. Spengler?
No objection to these either.
All right, thank you. Without objection, P-TR-2220, 2221, 2258, and 2257 are admitted and may be published.
May I have 2220, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
A boot, a metal clip covered in light blue or bluish green tape, and a guard dog taser.
2221, please?
A close-up of the boot, the guard dog taser, and the metal clip covered in blue tape.
2258?
A close-up of the guard dog taser.
And although it looks like a cell phone, it is not a cell phone?
Correct.
2257?
A metal clip covered by light blue or bluish greenish tape.
I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2229, 2240, 2241, 2242, 2243, and 2244.
I don't object to these exhibits.
You don't object? I don't. Okay, thank you. You're moving their admission, right, Ms. Pearson?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, without objection, P-TR-2229, 2240, 2241, 2242, 2243, and 2244 are admitted and may be published.
May I have 2239, please? Uh, 2239. What do we see in this photograph?
A knife.
2240.
A close-up photograph of a knife.
Could I have 2244, please?
Also a close-up photograph of the knife.
Is that a different knife than we saw in 2240?
No, it seems to be the same knife.
Would you look again, please, at 2244 and 2240?
You are correct, it is a different knife.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2241, please? What do we see depicted in that photograph?
On the left is a loaded magazine, in the middle, body armor, upper arm protection, and to the right is one of the knives.
2243?
This is the inside tag for the body protection or upper arm protection.
Thank you, you can take that down.
Can I see that last set of pictures, please? Thank you. Ms. Pearson, I think when you asked to approach, you referred to 2229. It's 2239. And so I want the record to be clear that what was admitted was 2239 just now, not 2229. It's P-TR-2239.
I apologize.
That's all right.
I am now going to approach with what is marked as People's Exhibits 2249, 2250, 2234, 2247, and 2248. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2249, 2250, 2234, 2247, and 2248.
Any objection?
Your Honor.
It is 2234, not 2244, right, Ms. Pearson?
It is 2234.
34, okay. Without objection, P-TR-2249, 2250, 2234, 2247, and 2248 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2249, please? What is that a photograph of?
Appears to be a black puffy jacket and a size 11 boot.
2250?
A close-up of the boot.
2234?
Appears to be a black tactical vest.
2247?
A black tactical helmet.
2248?
The inside tag to the tactical helmet.
Now, you had said previously you were also asked to take photographs of the suspect's car behind the theater.
Yes, I was.
I'm going to hand you First of all, I'm going to hand you what has been marked as People's Exhibit 2179. Do you recognize that photograph?
Yes, I do.
Is that a photograph that you took?
Yes, it is.
And does it fairly and accurately represent what you observed behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, may I publish this photograph?
Are you moving its admission?
I am, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Sorry.
Okay, without objection, it is admitted and may be published. That's P-TR-2179.
Could I have 2179, please? You may take that down. And now could I have a 2176, which was a photograph that was previously admitted? And if we could, within this photograph, although we can't see it very well here, the photograph we just saw, 2179, are the handcuffs in this photograph?
Yes, they are.
Can we zoom into this photograph in the area between the magazine in the foreground and the one? Not yet. Are they in there? Are they in there now?
Yes, they are.
Okay. They're very hard to see. Can you take the pointer and point them out? Okay. Thank you. I am now going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2145, 2162, 2164, and 2163.
Thank you.
Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took?
Yes, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed on July 20th of 2012?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2145, 2162, 2164, and 2163.
Ms. Spengler?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-2145, 2162, 2164, and 2163 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have People's Exhibit 2145, please? And what do we see depicted in this photograph?
This is a suspect's vehicle outside Theater Number 9, as we found it when we arrived on scene. Outside the vehicle are several magazines.
2162, please?
The interior driver's side of the vehicle. In the driver's side, there are what appear to be metal spikes. In the center console, there is a magazine, and what appears to be a cassette tape in the center console as well is covering an iPhone.
Could I have 2164, please?
This is a close-up of the center console. The magazine is in the center console, and also the iPhone with what appears to be a cassette cover for the iPhone.
So what looks like a cassette tape is actually a phone?
Correct.
And could you point out where the magazine is in this photograph?
Yes.
Thank you. And 2163, please.
This is what appears to be metal spikes and also a pair of sunglasses.
And where are these sitting?
These are in the driver's seat of the suspect's vehicle.
I'm next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2146, 2147, 2153, and 2154. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took on the morning of July 20th of 2012?
Yes,
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed?
yes.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2146, 2147, 2153, and 2154.
Is there any objection?
Yes, Your Honor, to 2147, if we may approach briefly.
Yes. Can I see those photographs, please? Thank you. All right, the objection to, what number is that one?
It's 2147, Your Honor.
The objection to P-TR-2147 is overruled, and so that exhibit is admitted. And then P-TR-2146, 2153, and 2154 are admitted without objection. All of them may be published. Here you go.
May I have People's Exhibit 2146, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
This is the front of the suspect's vehicle.
2147, please.
This is the front passenger side vehicle. In the seat is broken glass, what appears to be a tactical glove, a vehicle registration card.
2153, please.
A close-up of the vehicle registration card, the tactical glove, and the vehicle registration card is for James Egan Holmes.
And is there a shotgun shell in the, on the side, the right side of the passenger seat?
Yes, there is.
2154, please.
Also a close-up of the vehicle registration card for James Egan Holmes.
Thank you. I am now going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2148 and 2149. Do you recognize these photographs?
Yes, I do.
Are they photographs that you took on July 20th of 2012?
Yes.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I move to admit People's Exhibit 2148 and 2149?
You may move to admit. Any objection?
No objection.
All right, without objection, they're admitted and they may be published. That's P-TR-2148 and 2149.
May I first have 2148, please? What are we looking at here?
This is the front passenger side door. On the left side, you'll see the shotgun shell next to the seat, and in the passenger door pocket is a handgun.
2149, please.
This is a close-up photograph of the handgun inside the pocket on the passenger front side door.
I am next, you can take that down, thank you. I'm next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2143, 2155, and 2156. Are these photographs that you took on July 20th, 2012?
Yes.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move for the admittance of People's Exhibits 2143, 2155, and 2156.
Ms. Spengler,
No objection.
without objection, P-TR-2143, 2155, and 2156 are admitted and may be published.
May I have 2143, please? What are we looking at in this photograph?
This is a photograph of the passenger side suspect's vehicle. On the ground in front of the vehicle, or I'm sorry, on the side of the vehicle, is a gas mask, a piece of body armor, what appears to be some sort of bag.
Could I have 2155, please? What do we see depicted in this photograph?
A handgun on top of the suspect's vehicle.
And 2156, please?
A close-up of the handgun.
Thank you. Let me take that down. I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2139, 2140, 2141, and 2142. Do you recognize these photographs as ones that you took on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, I do.
Do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2139, 2140, 2141, and 2142.
Ms. Spengler?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-2139, 2140, 2141, and 2142 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have 2139, please? What are we looking at in this photograph?
This is a photograph of the suspect's vehicle, the passenger side, next to the passenger side rear tire is a gas mask. In front of that is body armor, and then beside that is what appears to be a gun cleaning kit or a kit of some sort.
Could I have 2140, please? What do we see in this photograph?
This is a close-up of the gas mask, the body armor in front of that, and also there's a tactical glove next to what appears to be a cleaning kit.
2141, please?
This is a close-up of the gun cleaning kit and a tactical glove.
2142, please?
This is a close-up of the graphite lubricant that was found in the gun cleaning kit.
I am next going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 2137, 2138, 2144, and 2160. Are these photographs that you took on the morning of July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they are.
And do they fairly and accurately represent what you observed that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2139, wait a minute, sorry. I would strike that. I would move for the admission of People's Exhibits 2137, 2138, 2144, and 2160.
Ms. Spengler, do you have any objections?
No objection to those exhibits.
All right, without objection, P-TR-2137, 2138, 2144, and 2160 are admitted and may be published.
Could I have 2137, please? What do we see in this photograph?
It's the passenger side of the suspect's vehicle. On the ground is a law enforcement grade can of aerosol clear out, and in front of that is a sun shield.
2138, please.
This is an up-close photograph of the law enforcement grade clear out.
Now, do you know, is this a spent can of clear out or a full can of clear out?
It appears to be a full can of clear out.
2144, please.
This is a photograph of the rear of the suspect's vehicle. To the right of the vehicle is the gas mask, body armor. Underneath the vehicle appears to be a backboard, and to the left of the vehicle are magazines.
And 2160, please.
This is the driver's side rear of the suspect's vehicle. There's one black tactical glove.
Thank you. You can take that down. Now, were you asked at some point to retrieve an item from the car?
Yes, I was.
Now, what was the item that you were asked to retrieve?
The iPhone.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 538. Do you recognize that item?
Yes, I do.
And what is it?
It is an iPhone with a cover that appears to look like a cassette tape.
Did you retrieve that from the car on the afternoon of July 20th of 2012?
Yes.
And did you put it in wrapping that has your signature or your information on it?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 538.
Any additional objection?
No.
All right, based on my previous ruling, P-TR-538 is admitted without further objection and may be published.
And this, I don't think. Your Honor, I'm not going to ask to publish it at this time.
All right,
Thank you. I don't have any additional questions for you.
Ms. Spengler, do you have any cross-examination? Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We could see People's 2146, please. Thank you. This was a photograph that you took of Mr. Holmes' car?
Yes.
Okay, and we can see the license plate clearly visible on the car, and that license plate registers back to Mr. Holmes. Is that right?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. There was no effort made to disguise that license plate. That was how you found that license plate when you photographed it, correct?
Yes.
And same thing with the back license plate.
Yes.
If we could please see People's 2163. These spikes in the front seat, you weren't asked to photograph any other spikes. No other spikes were found in the car, correct?
I wasn't asked to search the vehicle, only to photograph what was in plain view.
And you were never asked to photograph any other spikes?
No.
And People's 2199, please. It's your understanding that this pile of clothing or bags, one piece of clothing, came from the car?
Yes.
Okay. And you weren't asked to photograph, and there's no tent or camping gear contained within that pile of belongings?
Could you say that?
Sure. You weren't asked to photograph, and there's no tent in that pile of belongings?
No.
No sleeping bag?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Besides that orange blanket in the back, no additional blankets?
I didn't search the vehicle, so I'm not aware of any other blankets.
And you didn't photograph any other blankets? No. Okay. Same thing, you didn't photograph any cash, a passport coming out of that car?
No, I did not.
Okay. And that shirt is the only piece of clothing that you were asked to photograph that came out of that vehicle, correct?
There were other items of clothing from the suspect that I also photographed.
The ones we saw earlier by the dumpster?
Yes.
Okay, but in terms of coming out of the vehicle, that's the only shirt that you photographed?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect, Ms. Pearson?
No, Your Honor.
The jury may have some questions for you, ma'am, so if you would give us just a moment, please. Thank you. Would council please approach? Agent, the jury has submitted some questions, and I have found, based on the rules of evidence and other applicable rules of law, that they are appropriate, and so I am going to ask them now. The first question is, in your experience, what is a guard dog taser, if you know?
I'm not familiar with the guard dog taser.
The next question is, approximately what time did you take these photographs? Time range?
The time range that I took all of the photographs?
Yes.
We started at approximately 8:30 a.m. and I sealed the vehicle at 12:10 p.m.
And the last question is, regarding the handcuffs that were photographed, did they appear to be new? And I don't want you to speculate. This is just asking for your observations, if you know.
I am not an expert in when the handcuffs were actually developed or manufactured.
All right. Any follow-up questions from the people, Ms. Pearson?
No, Your Honor.
Any follow-up questions from the defense, Ms. Spengler?
Just one. When you say you started photographing at 8:30, do you mean on July 20th?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. May this witness be released from her subpoena?
She may.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Call your next witness, please.
The people call Agent Nick Vanelli.
Good morning.
Morning.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Why don't you hand me these photographs and that item of evidence there? Actually, just put them back here somewhere. There you go. Thank you. All right. Please be seated. Tell us your full name, please, and spell your first and last names.
Nick Vanelli, Nickvanelli.
Ms. Pearson, you may proceed.
Agent Vanelli, where are you employed?
I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation here in Denver, Colorado.
How long have you worked for the FBI?
I've been an agent for 18 and a half years.
Are you on the evidence response team?
I am. I'm one of the team leaders.
What does that mean that you do?
We respond to crime scenes and collect and package evidence.
Does the FBI also assist other police agencies?
Yes, we do.
On July 20th of 2012, was the FBI evidence response team asked to respond to the Century 16 Theater in Aurora?
That's correct.
Were you asked to assist the Aurora Police Department?
Yes, we were.
Do you recall what time you arrived on scene?
Approximately 4 a.m.
On the team, just in general, how many people are part of the ERT team? Is that what the evidence response team is called, is ERT?
It is ERT. There's approximately 24 members, and we're divided into teams. At that time, we had 4 teams of 6 members each.
Did more than one team of 6 respond to the theater?
That's correct.
You said you got there at about 4 a.m.
Yes.
What was going on outside the theater at that time?
There was a large number of police and fire vehicles. It was a little bit of a confusing scene. They'd begun to secure the area, kind of just generally establishing what was going to take place.
What were you asked to do when at the theater?
Initially, I made contact with Lieutenant DeFore from Aurora Police Department, and he asked us to start processing the back parking lot behind the theater.
What does that mean, to process the parking lot?
To locate and mark items of evidence, and then to collect and package them to be taken to the evidence control room.
Was Tony Payne one of the members of the ERT team?
She was the photographer.
And did she photograph the evidence behind the theater that you later collected?
That's correct.
In general, what kinds of things did you collect from behind the theater?
We collected weapons and ammunition, we collected clothing, we collected personal items, a host of different types of items in general. Tactical items, there was some used medical equipment, there was a large amount of stuff in the parking lot.
All right. I'm going to start to retrieve some evidence. Could I have 652 and 653? Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes. And did you say you have P-TR-652 and 653?
Yes. I'm just going to hand you both of these right now. All right.
Okay.
Turning first to item 652, do you recognize that item?
I'm trying to find the number on here. Yes,
Do you recognize that item?
yes I do.
And is that an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
That's correct.
Is it in the same condition as when you collected it?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 652.
Any objection to P-TR-652?
No objection.
Without objection, it is admitted.
Can you tell us what that exhibit is?
It's kind of a tactical bag. It's got some lubricant for weapons. It's got an AR-15 user manual, and it's got a plastic container. I'm not sure what would go in here. Might be ammunition. It's hard to say without taking it out.
And People's Exhibit 653, do you recognize that item?
I do.
What is it?
It's an orangish colored blanket.
Is that an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it is.
Is it in the same condition as when you collected it?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Exhibit 653.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-653 is admitted.
Your Honor, with regard to publishing these, would it be all right, once we've collected a number of items, to have the court staff allow the jury to pass them around, some that are smaller?
Yes, let's do that all at the same time.
Could I next have People's Exhibit 654, 655, and 656? I'm going to speak when I get back to the phone here. I've handed you what have been marked as People's Exhibit 654 and 656. Do you recognize those items?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Are those items that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance, and 654 is which of the two items?
654 is the black hard-sighted rifle case.
And 656 is the green gun case?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibits 654 and 656.
Any objection? No objection. Without objection, P-TR-654 and 656 are admitted.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as People's Exhibit 655. Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do.
Is this an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
That's correct.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 655.
Any objection?
No.
All right, without objection, P-TR-655 is admitted.
And what is People's Exhibit 655?
It's a black tactical canvas bag.
Could I have People's Exhibit 657 and 658? I have handed you what have been marked as People's Exhibit 657 and 658, and turning first to Exhibit 657, which you have in your hand. Do you recognize that as an item you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of People's Exhibit 657.
Any objection? No objection. Without objection, P-TR-657 is admitted.
What is it?
It's an orange canvas bag with the name Google on the outside of it.
And could I have People's Exhibit 658? Would you look at that, please? Do you recognize that item?
Yes, I do.
Is that an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would move for the admission of People's Exhibit 658.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-658 is admitted.
And if you could hold that up, please, and tell us what that is.
It's a green long sleeve shirt.
Thank you. Could I have People's Exhibit 659 660, and 661. I'm going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibits 659, 660, and 661. Turning first to People's Exhibit 659, what is that item?
It's a black tactical neck protector.
Is that an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 659.
Any objection?
No.
Without objection, P-TR-659 is admitted.
And 660, is that an item that you collected behind the theater in July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 660.
Any objection? Without objection, P-TR-660 is admitted.
And what is 660?
It's a blue-colored backpack.
And People's Exhibit 661?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a black tactical canvas bag.
Is that an item that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 661.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, P-TR-661 is admitted.
Great. Could I have People's Exhibit 663, 664, and 666? I'm going to hand you what have been marked as People's Exhibit 663, 664, and 666. Are all three of those items that you collected behind the theater on July 20th of 2012?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, I would move for the admittance of People's Exhibit 663, 664, and 666.
Any objection? No objection. Without objection, Exhibits P-TR-663, 664, and 666 are admitted.
Turning first to People's Exhibit 663, if you could hold that up, and what is that item?
It's a black and blue-colored black tactical canvas bag.
What is 664?
664 is three packages of batteries.
And People's Exhibit 666.
A pair of handcuffs.
Do the handcuffs indicate the brand on the handcuffs that you can read?
It looks to be a company HWC are the initials.
Thank you.
Ms. Pearson, when you come to a point where it makes sense to take a break, let me know. I don't know how much longer you have with this
It'll be a
witness.
while, so whatever is good for the court.
All right, let's go ahead and take our morning break at this time. Members of the jury, it's 10:15. Let's take our 20-minute morning break. Please keep all my admonitions in mind during the break. Enjoy the break. I'll see you back here in 20. Looks like the jury has now exited the courtroom. Please be seated, everyone. Is there anything we need to talk about before the break on behalf of the people, Ms. Pearson?
Your Honor, can I tender the photograph that was rejected, 3857, simply for the record?
Mark it as a court trial exhibit. So I think it's 11, I think would be the next. Is that right? Yes. Anything from the defense? No. Okay, thank you. The court will be in recess.